This deck makes some dirty birdies.
Only shooting stars break the mold.
This video and my channel are sponsored by Whatnot. Whatnot is an online marketplace where you can buy and sell cool collectibles with fellow collectors. That's right, it's also a streaming platform where you can hang out with folks while they do unboxings, they do box breaks, and, you know, maybe you want to hang out with my friend here. This is my friend Blevins. He's wearing a costume today for Memorial Day. I kid you not, I just saw that on Twitter before I brought my stream live today. Again, I am sponsored by Whatnot, and if you'd like to sign up, if you use the code in the description of the video, you will get $15 off your first purchase. So, you know, go out, buy some card games, check out some streams, and have a good time. Hello everybody, and welcome to Brawl Stars. I'm Amy the Amazonian, and today I'm playing Jolrael, voice of Zhalfir. This version of Jolrael is about animating lands. What does she do? She takes one of your lands, turns it into a creature, a bird specifically, makes it fly, and lets it swing into face. But she has a passive ability where whenever a land creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. Which means that this deck is all about animating lands. Jolrael, sure, she can animate lands, but she doesn't untap the land. She doesn't give you any additional mana. And the size of that creature is going to be dependent on your hand size. So we do want to have a little bit of card draw in this deck, but we also want to have ways to just turn everything into lands. Ashaya, Soul of Windgrace, all-star in this deck. And of course we have a slew of Nissas who animate lands. I am not running the X-cost Nissa that can animate lands one-off because I just don't think she's that good for this deck. I do think that she's a fun card, and I do think that you could include her in your own. So this deck, you're going to notice, has a bunch of ramp on 1 and 2. It has things like Awaken the Woods and Argothian Uprooting, which either make land tokens or animate your existing lands. We've got the way to animate all your lands at the same time with Sylvan Awakening. And, you know, we've also just got landfall stuff. If we're playing so many lands, we may as well get landfall. So we've got things like Evolution Sage, make those +1/+1 counters on some of those land creatures more impressive, make those planeswalkers more impressive too. I've got Nissa and her good friend Lotus Cobra, just getting us more mana off those landfalls. We could play lands off the top of our deck with Augur of Autumn, Courser of Kruphix. These are great cards, but the best of them all, definitely Oracle of Mul Daya, since she also lets you play additional cards each turn. This deck is very fun. You're going to notice I don't actually have that many things up here on the high end. What we're ramping into is purely our own lands, so we can use them to hit our opponent. I do also have 2 ways to replay lands from the graveyard, Conduit of Worlds, and where's my good snake friend, Ramunap Excavator, because your lands might die, which is tragic. So it starts with the ramp. We've got a little bit of slamp. But really what we want to do is we want to hit with these dirty, dirty birdies. So let's take Jolrael into the queue and animate our lands. I sent Snakes, Emoti, Celebrant of Bounty, and Master of Cascade. Emoti herself has Cascade and gives your expensive spells Cascade too. I have a little bit of ramp in this deck, but I would really like to have a bit more lands in hand. And now we do! We even have Tatyova, who should be really fun since she does something very spicy with this deck, which is gives all our land creatures flying. Not just the one that Jolrael makes, all of them. Tatyova, I appreciate you. Tatyova animates lands too, permanently, whenever you have landfall and 7 or more lands out. Big fan of Tatyova. Ooh. Do we want to ramp or do I want to ramp? I want to ramp. Let's cultivate. Get some more blue stuff out since we have plenty of green in hand. They've currently got 4 mana out onto the battlefield. Lady Amir gives them 2 more next turn. I guess I should consider myself pretty lucky that they didn't do more than that. We could go for Settle the Wilds, Vorinclex, Jolrael. Do I want to just draw a card here? Sure. Get our commander and swing for 6 in the air. Hand's pretty full, so we get to deal lots of damage, and we get another card in hand. Hello, Seagate Restoration. Here comes Emoti. She cascades and she finds Into the North, which will get them a snowland. Throw it onto the battlefield. That's more ramp for more big stuff that they're going to be playing. Cascade does always hit something that costs less than whatever you cast, but with the Emoti, you can go from a big thing into a big thing into a big thing into a small thing. She can definitely chain cascades together in a very scary way. Ooh, no, I think I'm gonna grab this Tatyova here. Settle the wilds. Land enters the battlefield. We're going to animate it. It won't be able to attack this turn. That's totally fine. But I am going to swing in with my commander. That way, I have the chance of just hitting and trading with theirs. Cool. We deal 3, and they just want to cast something big and scary. My guess is they have some creatures with reach. There's a lot of big green creatures with reach, like this one, Vorinclex. And I imagine they have some of those in their deck. Ooh, Nissa, who makes their mana twice as good. They're forced to now tap for 2 mana rather than 1. They get an extra bit of green out of it. She can also animate lands, and I wish I had her right now because this is such a good card in this deck. Vastwood Surge! Nice! They're gonna grab 2 more lands, put them into play tapped. Hey, Emoti. You ready to party? I'm ready to party. Invasion of Zendikar. We're starting with this. Grabbing some lands, putting them into play to get Tatyova's triggers. I'm gonna make Argoth a little bit bigger. We're gonna swing Argoth at Nissa, Island at Invasion of Zendikar, and everything else at face. Actually, I don't need to flip this. I'm gonna swing Jolrael here. That way, the Nissa's dead, we're threatening this flip, and we'll get to draw some cards off the lands hitting base. Awakened Skyclave, also a land, so it has flying right now. Sure, keep animating these lands. Thank you, Tatyova. We love you, Tatyova. Ooh, choices. Let's get out Gretchen. Gretchen gets us Gretchen. Both with her big, scary ability of drawing cards and putting lands into play. Gretchen is very much just, sometimes you need to growth spiral, and sometimes you want to do whatever you want. Rishkar's expertise draws them 3 cards, since 3 is the highest power among creatures they control. And it hits Vorinclex off Emoti's Cascade. That will put 2 forests into their hand. Surprised they didn't get any dual forests, since you don't have to grab a basic with Vorinclex, just a forest. Paradox Engine! Somebody wants to start untap, and they do have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana on each spell they cast, because they can untap each of those, and they all do tap for mana. They also have a 5th mana just chilling back here. Oh, actually, non-land permanent. This does not untap with it. They didn't bank the mana off the Palladium Mirror. An Arcane Signet. That gets them 1, 2, 3, 4 now on each cast. How deep can they go? Hopefully not that much deeper. I am not a fan of playing against Paradox Engine pseudo combos. So we'll see how deep it goes. If we get to untap and swing in, I have this feeling we will have a lethal attack, since we have so many flying creatures. Thank you, Tatyova, for making all of those fly. I really appreciate it. I will sit here, and I will sip my coffee. Looks like they might be done. Okay, they do have enough mana for a fog effect, which I am hoping they do not have. But it looks like we're good. We just get to swing in and deal lethal. GG Emoti. Simone and Dina up against a pile of ramp. Big fan of this. Simone and Dina is a Sacrifice and Draw and Drain. A very, very cool commander. I really like Zhalfir, but she's hard to get to work because she doesn't do anything right when she enters the battlefield unless you have other card draw set up. So when you draw your second card each turn, you get to drain your opponent for 2 life. And that's great, because you don't want your opponent to have life. Only you want to have life. That life is yours. Just throw down this Lotus Cobra, since I can't actually do anything with the floating mana. I'm not attacking with the Arboreal Grazer game. I don't need to send that message. The Munandina also has this Sacrifice ability, which either draws you 1 or 2 cards and lets you put lands into play. It's a Growth Spiral or a double Growth Spiral ability. Very cool commander, and since our deck does not actually run that much removal, it can definitely run away with the game. I'm going to make some lands. 1, 2. 2 lands. Awaken the Woods makes Forest Dryads, these beautiful tokens here, which, for Nissa, will tap for 2 mana. Since we have no lands in hand, Bounty of the Deep also would have gotten us a land and a non-land card. Hi, Zamonandina! Hi, Zamonandina. I think we need a Nissa here. Love a good Nissa. Just leave ourselves a bit more to do. Ooh, Evolving Wilds. I don't have any landfall abilities here, so I'll just crack that open. Grab some more forests. And chill. Arboreal Grazer. Block for me, my beloved. I'm just trying to set up lots and lots of land creatures for Jolrael. Solemn Simulacrum gets them a land. So far, they've got some good enter the battlefield, draw card type of creatures here. And they're not attacking Nissa. Ooh, Sylvan Awakening. Can turn my lands indestructible. I want to go for Jolrael, though. There she is. Untap our forest. Make it mighty. And Ganessica sounds pretty nice, too. Now, since these have +1/+1 counters on them, I'm going to get these boots out. Put the boots on our commander. Not that she's attacking this turn. Make my snow-covered forest grow! And swing in for 4. If we draw a creature post-combat, we might be able to cast it and draw a card. See what we got? Oh, we got a creature! We got Courser of Kruphix! Absolutely, we're gonna pay with creatures. There's a Dryad on top of our deck. Now we'll be able to play lands off the top of our library. I'm not sure. I guess Auto Tapper said I want to tap 3 different creatures. But... oh, yes! So Nissa is actually the one who provides the mana. So what it was doing is it was saying, we're going to ignore the Nissa mana to draw you a card. That is why Auto Tapper did that. I was wondering, why did it have to tap all of these? It's because Nissa makes the mana, not the land. Thanks, Nissa. You're a weird one. And Nissa is dead. And so are a bunch of my artifacts, enchantments, lands, and well, creatures. We return to nothing. Well, not quite nothing, but a lot less. Ooh, Evolution Sage. Wish we had some lands for that. I might want to go for Sylvan Awakening. The problem is it just makes these indestructible, and 2 of them can be blocked very succinctly anyway. We're going to go to combat to start. Turn our snow-covered forest into a thick, thick lad. And swing in for 6. Thankfully, this permanently has Vigilance. Thank you, Nissa. We got a Hall of Storm Giants, so we'll play Evolution Sage. Hall of Storm Giants to get a Proliferate. Make our snow-covered forest a little bit stronger. play the Dryad of Elysian Grove, even though I do not have another land to play here. Still a good card to have. Lets me play extra lands, and it turns all my lands into lands of all types. Ramon and Dina sacrifices the Elvish Visionary, since that was their first draw for that turn. They don't get the drain, but they do get the draw. And they didn't put a land into play, which tells me they don't have a land. Ooh, Bellatrix Witherbloom makes sacrificeables, and they paid 10 life to untap all their mana. Something devastating is coming, isn't it? A Time Warp! Okay, Time Warp. And a River's Rebuke. So here's the good news. Some of these are lands, so they're gonna stay on the battlefield. Land, land, land. The bad news, everything else is back in my hand. They have 4 life remaining. And they can gain 1 more by sacrificing a pest. But will 1 be enough? When it comes to flying, let's see. Snow-covered forest. They sacrifice the pest. They've already fatal pushed. They can't cut this down. They gained 2 off of this, but we've got 9 damage in the air. GG's, Simone and Dina. Atraxa, Raider's Voice. Atraxa is all about proliferating, oftentimes planeswalkers. Sometimes +1/+1 counters too. She also has flying, so she's got some evasion built in. And though this is a kind of slow hand, maybe they won't have a fast start either. I really like having access to Wrenn and Realmbreaker early, in part because of the land animation, but also because if you can get Wrenn and Realmbreaker to ult, you're just in a really good spot. We also might end up minusing if we're missing land drops, just to try and find that stuff. The only problem is Atraxa, Praetor's Voice has flying, and also Death Touch, Vigilance, Lifelink. So, unless I have flyers of my own, I'm not going to be able to defend my planeswalkers. Let's see what they've got. A mulligan! My god. I have mulligans too. Many a mulligan. Behold, Breeding Pool. Come and tap, since I don't have anything to play in turn 1. I like Awakener Druid. Can turn my forests into 4/5s. Unfortunately, very killable 4/5s. Trying to decide which land to play first. Ooh, Shipwreck Marsh. It comes in tapped. Well, I'm not doing anything on this turn. I don't really want to play a Hydroid Krasis for X=0. As funny as that would be, not very helpful. And oh no, they've ramped before I could ramp. This a little spooky. If I do Awakener Druid here, I would have to hit that Breeding Pool since I haven't played that forest. So we're going for Wrenn and Realmbreaker. And I am going to actually start with the minus since I don't think I'll be able to protect against the attacks. We've got a land or Elvish Mystics here. I'm actually going to just grab the Mystic. Yeah, grab that into hand. I feel like I've got 2 lands in hand. 1 comes in tap, but still good to have. Now my mana is very all access. Wrenn and Realmbreaker is good fixing too. Is it time for Atraxa? No, since this can only tap for planeswalkers. This is Tamiyo Completed Sage, able to tap things, including my lands. Very rude. Do you give haste? You do not give haste. I want to get rid of this Tammy. So we're going to use the Awakener Druid to awaken the Breeding Pool. So we can swing in and take out Tamiyo.
My words fall on unwilling ears.
Plussing, don't really want to animate any lands here in case of board wipes. Tezzerets Gambit, they have nothing to proliferate, but they can still draw some cards. Ooh, this feels like it's going to be a Jolrael turn. Go ahead and play her. Random Realmbreaker. Don't really want to animate any lands here, so I won't. Same thing. You guys have already got this. It's slightly bigger as a 4/5. And let's see what we can draw. Draw another land. Cool. All right. They definitely have enough for Traxa now. So maybe they're eyeing playing another Planeswalker first. Ooh, Mu Yanling. Mu Yanling can give -2/-0 on her first plus, and then starts making birds, and eventually has an ultimate ability to give some card draw. Oh, and they just want to be able to make a blocker, I think. Yep, so they're actually killing Mu Yanling here by proliferating to get themselves this bird. Well, you know, I can make birds too. I'm actually going to animate this forest with Wrenn and Realmbreaker to give it vigilance, hexproof, haste, all those things. Then I'm going to make it bigger using Jolrael. I'm going to swing in with these two. No blocks. We're going to draw 2 cards. This will go back to being a 3/3. But since they didn't block, I'm just going to take advantage of that and kill their bird. There is no bird. Birds aren't real. They can tap things down with this Tamiyo. They could just play Atraxa as a big spooky flyer. And Basri Ket. Basri Ket will put a +1/+1 counter onto Atraxa, make her indestructible until end of turn, and also get proliferated, both those counters and Basri himself. Basri, by the way, has a very good ultimate ability, especially with Atraxa. Turns out, +1/+1 counters are strong. I don't have any removal here, especially since our Vivien, we already minused her. Let's see what else we can find. Warren collects Uro. I'll grab this Uro. They essentially have 14 life. Now, do I have a way that I'd be dealing 14 damage? Assuming they block the big flyer, we'd get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in. But they are forced to block the big flyer. Everybody's coming in. They go down and then gain 3. They go to -3, then gain the 6. We're going to draw 2 cards. You can play some of these lands, get that into play. Get this, actually, we just hold for an ability. And I'm trying to think. I do want to hold open the Tail's End. So I'm going to grab this Lair of the Hydra, throw it into play, and hold this up. Plaster Cat is rather close to ult, but an ult onto an empty board would not win this for them. Teferi, who slows the sunset, can gain them life, but also is legendary, so can be hit by Tail's End. They gain 1 life off the Interplanar Bacon. Interplanar Bacon. But it looks like that's going to be a game for us. A game 1, and a game 1 is a good one. It's Arcades the Strategist. I said his name so badly. Strategist. 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 There we go. Arcades is all about walls. Walls and more walls. Because when you're defending, you're drawing cards with Arcades. He also lets you start attacking with your defenders, because that's his big ol' ability. He lets you swing with the booty of the walls that you got. Talking about you, Arcades. Since Arcades is Bant, you also have access to some nice removal, protection, and counter spells off of these colors. But really, it's all about those walls. And you might not think it, because it's a walls deck, but Arcades is an aggro or tempo commander. That's right. This is a fast deck. Especially when it comes to cards like this. This is a 2-mana 0/4? I don't think so. That's a 2-mana 4/4 once Arcades comes into play. Some very spooky stuff. We'll go ahead and grab some more lands here. This one gets animated. Hopefully we can get down this Vorinclex to block these big flyers, since Arcades also is a big flyer with Vigilance. Hey, Uro, you're not a wall, but like you are a really good card in these colors. So I totally get it. They didn't get another land into play, which tells me they don't have another land here. That's probably a good thing for me, since it means Arcades isn't coming out this next turn. Wrenn and Realmbreaker. I'm actually going to throw down Wrenn and Realmbreaker and turn my snow-covered island temporarily into a 5/5. It has 2 +1/+1 counters on it, and it became a base 3/3 instead of a 0/0. The Fractal swings in and hits for 5. The goose is loose! More ramp, and doesn't get the boost from Arcades since it's not a defender, but it can still get a boost from if they have high alert in the deck and start swinging for 2 damage. Okay, Wrenn and Realmbreaker, ready to rumble. Do I want to play protectively? I think I should. So we're going to play Vorinclex here. See if this gets countered. Vorinclex on the battlefield gets me 2 forests into hand. We're going to grab the Breeding Pool and Forest, sure. No downside to turning you into a 5/5, unless they're trying to destroy evil.
Please, buy us more time.
Oh, and Errant! Errant is about copying spells, but also Flash Defender Haste. All good abilities to have with Arcades. Now they can hit for 4, they can hit for 3, but since we have something with Reach, doesn't look like they want to swing into that. I don't have anything else with Reach here, though, which is very, very frightening. Seems like a fine place for my commander to come in. Give the buff to the snow-covered island. I'll play another forest. We will animate this forest as well. I'll see if they're willing to trade some dirt for some hurt. Remember that Arcades is letting these swing with their booties, but not Arcades himself. He's just a 3/5 with Vigilance. Oh, we must destroy the Flump. Flump will draw both of us cards. What a friend. I have to discard a card because I actually am too good at drawing right here. I don't have any landfall right now, so I'll drop the Evolving Wilds. As it stands, we're doing a pretty good job blocking, protecting Wrenn and Realmbreaker, so we can replay these things from our graveyard. I am happy to sacrifice my creatures in order to protect this ult. And I think once Wrenn and Realmbreaker ults, the game's not over, but it's going to be really hard for them to win. If they have something like a Tail's End, they could counter that ultimate ability. That would be pretty tricky. Ooh. Floriferous Vine Wall, another hard one for me to say, did find a fabled passage. Floriferous. What a nice word. Arcades did get a bunch of good stuff in Dominaria United. It was a whole land/defenders package. Planes. They've got blue and white. And they're using that for a Consulate Skygate. Consulate Skygate, Defender, and Reach, but no haste. If they attack in here, I will sacrifice Jolrael, but they aren't, and they're tapped out, so we ult! Oh, beautiful playing things from the graveyard.
My final gambit. I will give you all the time I can muster.
Turning you into a 3/3 with all of these pieces of text. Animate you with Jolrael again. That's just to maintain that hexproof and everything else. They block with the goose. They honk and bonk. I think Druid class would be great since we can level it up next turn. Get ourselves an additional land. Something really great about this Ren ult is that you can immediately replay Ren from the graveyard. Oh, nice. Vorinclex still doing a great job blocking. Thank you, Vorinclex. Ooh, and a Grappling Sundew. This can get indestructible, but it has Defender, so they draw a card for Arcades. They're starting to get more lands. They're starting to catch up over here. Speaking of playing extra lands during a turn, do I want to swing in first? I will, with the biggest possible hand. Don't need to do the vigilance tricking here, since I might be minusing this Ren and Realmbreaker, trying to get more stuff into the graveyard. It's 8 damage. Would you like to trade? I wouldn't mind, personally, I'm just saying. Couple of walls for some dirt. Well, technically it's a bird. Tweet, tweet. Dirty birdie. Oh my gosh. The trade! It's in the graveyard. We can replay it, and we can play even more! Thanks to Druid class! Let's go ahead and play some of these, some of those. Oracle of Mul Daya, come on out, say hello. A Counterspell? I can play it from the graveyard next turn. I can even play some other stuff from the graveyard next turn. What else do we got in the graveyard? Ooh, cards. The answer was cards. Almost all of this deck is permanent outside of these couple ramping sorceries we've got. We've got Cultivate, Emergent Sequence, and Harrow. Also got a River's Rebuke somewhere in here. Can't play that with Ren and Realmbreaker. Penrith's Transformation! Vorinclex becomes a dainty little 3/3. An elk! Oh no! Well, if he dies, we can play him again from the graveyard. Again, Ren and Realmbreaker. Good card. I want to play so many lands. The number of lands I want to play is obscene. Arcades, though, gets a free swing here since we no longer have reach on the battlefield. They're swinging at Ren and Realmbreaker. Again, only cost me 3 to bring this back onto the battlefield. Ooh, I'm going to start with a Lotus Cobra. By the way, if they have a Wash Away, they will be able to wash away anything I'm playing from the graveyard. Oracle of Mul Daya, not a land on top of my deck. River's Rebuke, that's cool and all. That's cool and all. Let's go ahead and shuffle. Try and get a land on top. Gretchen. Ren, come out here. Put Gretchen in the trash. Thank you for putting Gretchen in the trash. Oh, Scootlebee! Let's go ahead and get that Scoot Bug onto the battlefield. Take ourselves on a nice trip to Scootadelphia. Landfalls make landfall things happen. We can animate a land, but I'm not going to. And I'm going to swing in with Vorinclex, because I kind of want him to die. If he dies, I can bring him back. There's a few things in both green and in white that exile graveyards. They take 3. They don't want this Vorinclex coming back. Oh my. That was 3 damage. Because they let the Turn Timber come in untapped. What do you need all that mana for? So they've given themselves Hexproof off Teo. They also get a wall into play, which draws them a card off Arcades. Teo's like, finally, I'm relevant! I don't know how many of you have been watching Standard play. There was the Arena Championship this past weekend. But Teo's home plane of Gobakon, or more specifically the invasion of Gobakon, has been seeing some play in Standard, which is kind of neat. Nice! Wing Minital Chaplain, coming in and making 6 birds. Also will make a bird when another creature with Defender enters the battlefield. But will they have enough birds relative to my horrible number of scoots? I suppose we should find out. I'm actually going to start with Gretchen. We're going to activate Gretchen. I want to get this Courser of Kruphix into hand to see what else we have here. We're going to get some landfalls off this Lotus Cobra. An island. We continue to scoot. Oh, and we scoot so scootily! Got Tireless Provisioner now on top. That's kind of like another Lotus Cobra, only it turns things into treasures or food. We will put this land into play. Excuse me, this land right here. Love that for us. Scoot, scoot, scoot. Scoot-loot-loot. Get the Tireless Provisioner into play. Play our Evolving Wild so we get loads of landfall. A treasure. And a couple dozen scoots. Get some more of that good green stuff. There's a Tatyova on top. Sheesh, I want that Tatyova. Gretchen, draw me the Tatyova. Thank you. I will pay the 2 on this. Get more landfall triggers. There's a reason Gretchen's in this deck. It's because of landfalls. She helps us get more of them, so we can do more filthy, dirty, nasty things. Like this. Tatyova is going to turn my landfalls into animation. But most of these will be tapped. At least for now. Yep. Scoots are happening. We're almost at the token limit here. One more scoot activation will definitely get me there. Crack this open. Hi, Rivers Rebuke. I don't actually need you. We'll go ahead and turn this island into a land. I think our opponent is realizing... Or turn that into a land. Turn it into a bird. I think our opponent's realizing what's happening. And what's happening is 250 Scoot Swarms. which is the maximum number they'll let me have. GG. Drana and Linvala. Drana and Linvala do something kind of nasty against my deck. They make it so my activated abilities not only are gained by their creature, but are also deactivated on mine. We're going to start with Kami of Bamboo Groves over Llanowar Elf because I have 4 lands in hand. Throw in this island. This will disable my lands when they are creatures tapping for mana or using any other activated ability. All of it's kind of rude. That's fine. We have land-based ramp though, and we will stomp our way. Well, yeah, my good dinosaur who gets me a nice basic in the battlefield tapped. Hi, Drana and Linvala. I also have a Drana and Linvala deck. I think it's good. I remember enjoying playing it quite a bit. So we could go for Jolrael, swinging in with a land, or we could play Vorinclex. Vorinclex is going to get me 2 more forests in hand. We're going to grab a breeding pool and just a regular snow-covered forest. That fills up my hand quite a bit for next turn. Also, it's a 6-mana or a 5-mana 6/6 with Trample and Reach, which is just good to have on the battlefield. Bring out our commander. Animate this forest. Swing in with Vorinclex and the forest. Reminder, the forest is just going to be getting in there. Okay, sweet. Now we can play a land. Llanowar Elf. Looking good, looking good. Path of Peril! A board wipe! Thankfully, we got some damage in on their face, or this would be a lot scarier. We could start animating this Crawling Barrens, but instead I'm going to go for Tireless Provisioner. Some boots. Breeding pool. Come in tapped. Make a treasure. Put the boots on the Provisioner and swing in for 3. Gilded Lotus. They ramp! And Drana, Liberator of Malakir. That's 1/2 of Drana and Linvala. This one puts +1/+1 counters onto attacking creatures. I have a very small hand, so I feel like Jolrael's actually not very great here. Instead, we're going to go for a big ol' Hydroid Krasis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. So we're going to do this for X = 6. And I'm going to be leaving back these 2 treasure mana for the counterspell. Got myself a flying 6/6 here. I'm just going to keep it back as a blocker. I don't need Drana, Liberator of Malakir getting any bigger. Turns out that being able to play blue and getting a teeny tiny bit of delicious, delicious counter magic can be really, really clutch. We're going to grab this Enduring Angel and just counter it. They gave me a Sleepy Hedron. They're so not into it. That's fine. They can just bring it back because they have an Invasion of Tolvada. You know what would be crazy? Like, absolutely crazy? I couldn't target your face with my River's Rebuke. Ooh! It's fine. I'm gonna hit your face with other things. Like, perhaps, this forest. Swinging in with both the forest and the Hydroid Krasis. Ooh, death? Sure. It doesn't matter how we order it, since this is all first striking damage. If we can get them to 0 life, the Enduring Angel will actually flip over. It'd be very cute. We're going to move the boots over to Jolrael. She's got boots on. Hexproof, how dare you. You and Teo both. Drana and Linvala, they're going to get the activated abilities of my creatures, which is none currently. Invasion of Tolvada will flip over, and it's going to be spitting out spirits. The Broken Sky. A spirit token. Neat! I think it's neat. Oracle of Mul Daya. That is not a land. What a shame. It'd be cool if it were. Just go ahead and get my landfalls on. Treasures. More treasures. And we're vibing. Since I have all this mana, feeling okay. Broken Sky. Ooh, they're turning their Mycosynth Garden into a copy of Gilded Lotus. Gives them more mana. Also, I like this Draenei Laval. It does appear to be an Angels deck. Vengeful Reaper. It's got Death Touch. I'll take the 2. Ow! And I'll make my Crawling Barrens bigger. Do we have lands on top? Yes, we do! Tireless Tracker, come into play. Let's get some landfall triggers, getting some clues. Clues will get me more card draw. We have so many Tireless folk here. I have too many lands for Settle the Wilds to actually hit anything, but it will still put a land into play. We get treasures, we get clues. We're gonna crack our clues. Okay, Ashaya. Gonna turn all our creatures into lands. We can actually start with that. By the way, they will not be able to tap for mana because of Draenei Laval. She will now tap for green mana, though. Keep making treasures. Keep getting clues. I'll put more cards into hand. What a fun turn. Sure, I'll play Courser of Kruphix off my remaining things here. Gets me a land. Use that treasure. And we're going to throw the boots onto Ashaya. We can make Ashaya fly, but then she would get smaller. I don't think we need to do that. Everybody here is a land. Ashaya, go get him! Okay, Angel of the Dire Hour does exile the Ashaya. I don't know why they were sleepy hedroning at me when they were the one holding Settle the Angel. An Arcane Signet. And Lulu! Lulu is in fact an angel elephant. Or elephant angel. And they have a card in hand, a Carrier Thrall. They specialize the Lulu. Going for the life drain. So this will hit first. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Let me just double check. Is that off by 1? Because I need to get rid of that Enduring Angel. Oh no, I was off by 1. This is why you should always learn your basic addition. I thought I was going to be alive with 1 life there, which would have allowed me to turn things around on that turn. But, you know, math is for blockers. And I don't want to block. Pia Nalar. She loves to play things from exile because when she does, she gets a Thopter. And those Thopters gotta go fast. And so do we. I do have a way to get down a turn 1 Llanowar Elf. I am going to take it, even though it cost me 3 life. Oof! Llanowar Elf on turn 1. Very important, as always, to get those lands into play. Hey, Pia Nalar. You like playing things from exile? Me too. I wish I could play Pia Nalar and prosper. Wouldn't that be great? Since we had some green on turn 1, we can still throw down this Tangled Portahedron. It's our backup Llanowar Elf. It's a 1/1. It taps for green mana. And hopefully this one will not die. They did do the classic, the traditional. Bolt the bird, or in this case, bolt the elf. And I don't blame them for it. Let's see, we've got ways to make some land tokens. We've got ways to animate our lands. We've got a scoot bug. I'm gonna play the scoot bug. And once we get to 6 lands, this scoot will start cloning itself, making more and more bugaboos for me to enjoy. I'm gonna throw that elf to the bottom, because right now we have ramp in hand, and I'd rather use these ramps than that ramp. Here's just declaring war. Going to be able to tap some artifacts to deal some damage and do things like kill bugs. Pretty important. Unfortunately, using Invasion of Zendikar or Awaken the Woods, I can only get 2 more lands. But I think 2 is better than none. They will be able to kill the Scoot Swarm, but at least I'll get some bugs in the meantime. Get some green, get some blue. We scoot, we scoot, we scoot some more. Goodbye, Scoot Bug. Very, very good. Very good thing to kill. Goodbye, Scoot Swarm. How I miss you. Thankfully, we do still have insect tokens. Ooh, Harnfill lets them discard to play cards from exile, which is what Pia Nalar wants them to do. Probably not going to discard this turn since they're tapped out. And they also did play a land for the turn. Chapter 3, by the way, they will be turning something into a 4/4 until end of turn. I'm not that scared of it. I'm actually considering Blast and Harnfill here after we try and get some damage in on Invasion of Zendikar. I only need 3 damage here, so I can play this land first. Ooh. Jolrael, I'm going to animate my Temple of Mystery, but I'm also going to pay 1 and animate my Blinkmoth Nexus. This does not get me card draw, but it will flip over the Invasion of Zendikar. Blinkmoth Nexus, though, will get me some card draw. Awakened Skyclave come into play. By the way, want to know why this is in the deck? It's not just because it's land-based ramp, it's because it is a land! It is a creature land, which is exactly what Jolrael likes. It also has Vigilance, so I can give it flying with Jolrael, still swinging, and tap it. Behold, a 4/4! The Ornithopter getting Ornithic. This is only until end of turn, though. It'd be sweet if this was permanent. Old Steelheart, played from exile. They also have a Dark Dweller Oracle. And a Curse of Hospitality. Now when their creatures hit me, they'll be exiling the top card of my deck, and they can play or cast those spells. I'm a big fan of Curse of Hospitality. It also gives everything trample. What a fun card. Nice to see Pia Nalar out here doing crime. They got a land, which means they get a Thopter. Now it is my turn. Do I want to destroy Harnfill, Curse of Hospitality? Do I want to guarantee a nice little hit in here? I'm going to start by animating this forest. It is a forest. This is holding priority, by the way, because you can technically activate this whenever you'd like. I just don't think they'll have many things they can cast for 1 green mana. It would be weird. Swinging with the forest and the Awakened Skyclave. 5 damage in the air, 4 on the ground. Boop, boop. Get to draw a card. I got... Ooh, Titania! I am happy to see Titania here. Go ahead and shock this in. Play Vivien Reid. And destroy their Curse of Hospitality.
No one said restoration was painless.
Now I have 3 mana left. We can play Titania. Titania is huge here because she has reach. And our opponent says, oh, reach. Well, I make 1/1s, and that's a 3/4, so yep, that's gonna be game. GG, Pia Nalar. Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge. Tezzeret, Master of the Bridge, also known as the Claw. He cares about how many artifacts you have in play because his plus ability is actually really sweet and deals damage and gains life based on the number of artifacts. That's that animation that actually brings down a claw onto the battlefield. It looks really cool. I think it's one of those neat old animations that you just don't really do. This was a buy a box promo, by the way, and you don't get to see it very much. Also, it gives your creatures and planeswalkers affinity for artifacts, which adds up pretty quickly. I have quite a bit of mana here. I'm going to play Inga and Essica. Inga and Essica is pretty important in this deck because she gives your land creatures vigilance. Also can give you card draw off tapping your land creatures, which is nice because card draw is good when you care about the size of your hand. I'm going to start by playing out this forest. I'm going to tap the Llanowar Elves Speaker, get out Jolrael. We do have 2 mana here. I'm wondering if it's going to be a counterspell. It was Disdainful Stroke. How rude. This can't tap for mana for counterspells, so unfortunately I wasn't able to do that. I was hoping to get to swing in for 4, plus a little bit more on this Botanical Sanctum. Guardian Idol, okay. They have ramped considerably, all with artifacts too. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sort of, or 5 sort of. Off here on the side. Guess I can just swing in again. I'll get in a little bit more damage though. Animate this land. Swing in with these 2. And so we have 2 different ways to cast a counterspell for their commander. Counterspell or Wash Away. I can also throw down this Uro. I don't feel like I need to keep you untapped. Cool, Tatyova. We now have an Uro in the graveyard, too. We only have 1 card in graveyard, though, so it's not like we can escape Uro. What you got? A Lantern of Revealing. It's more ramp. And Tezzeret, Master of the... No. Master of the Nothing. Be gone, Tezzeret. It's pretty obvious based on how I tapped that I was holding up a counterspell there. Ooh, and we've actually got more hosing for planeswalkers ready to go off this Vorinclex. I will definitely choose to add some mana here. And pop down Vorinclex. Vorinclex is going to make it so the planeswalkers enter with half their loyalty. Also, the replicating ring won't get counters. Good stuff for me. I have 2 mana, but I can only spend it on creatures, and I don't have any 2-cost creatures here. They're down to 4, but Tezzeret can still come out and plus. And that plus ability would gain them a bunch of life. Ooh, an illicit shipment? Somebody has tutored, and they can cast pretty much any spell here. And they're going for Tome of the Infinite. The Tome of the Infinite in this deck, by the way, tells me they probably also have Paradox Engine, since the 2 combo together nicely. But whatever they got, it wasn't enough. My guess is they were looking for Swords to Plowshares. We're just going to go kick their butt with the power of Vorinclex. GG. This hand is actually really sweet, but the lands come in tapped, and there's only 2 of them. If we had a 3rd land, look at all the ramp we had. Am I willing to risk it for the biscuits, try and get it off of this Temple of Mystery? Or are we going to be too slow against Satoru Umezawa? I'm going to risk it. So Satoru Umezawa is notably a nasty ninja's commander. Satoru turns everything into ninjas, and for some reason, somebody at Wizards of the Coast said, you know, having to pay 4 mana to give Emrakul ninjutsu That's too much. So we made it 3. I don't know why they rebalanced this card, but they did. Definitely not a choice I would have made. Wizards of the Coast. We're going to throw that Druid class back, and we're going to scry. Find that land. Cold Steel Heart. They're ramping before we can. That's never a great sign, but at least they didn't play anything early on. Dreamroot Cascade. They're untapped right now with no mana. So we get to get some untapped mana. Harrow. We're going to grab some green, we're going to grab some blue, and we're going to use that to play Destiny Spinner, which will stop them from countering both my creatures and enchantments. They are in blue. They can't play counter spells. We do not want them to counter our stuff. They can still counter these and these. And here's Satoru! And a creature I'm probably not going to be able to block. I do have access to 5 mana here. But I don't know if that will be enough. I don't think it will be enough. We do have the River's Rebuke for the turn after, so anything they get into play, we might be able to just throw back. Topiary Stomper. Currently cannot block. And we chill, we vibe, we hang! And we're just going to say, oh, my beautiful blue board wipe, please help me. Please help me, my beautiful blue board wipe. A recon mission. They're not going for ninjutsu this turn. That makes me feel a lot more secure, but they are hitting me with the recon mission, which means they get to draw 2 cards off their creatures hitting my face. They haven't played the land yet for turn. There it is, an island. That could be enough for a Spell Pierce mana, and they also have Mausoleum Wanderer here as a potential counterspell. That is a bit of a problem for me, and I have to be wary, because it's kind of scary. Tatyova. I'm going to actually rely on you here. We cultivate to get 2 more lands. We're going to animate this forest. It can't do anything this turn. But these will have flying. And flying means I can block. And blocking is good. We're going to swing in with the Destiny Spinner and a Topiary Stomper too. Poof! Getting blockers to deal with their evasion is huge here. Mana Confluence in a 2-color deck. Pro tip, don't do this. 3 colors? Sure, go for it. 4 colors? Yeah, I get it. 5? Yeah, okay, it makes sense. 2 colors! You don't need a Mana Confluence. You're better than that. Scarab God? I suppose they can now reanimate creatures. If there were creatures. Turn them into 4/4s. Could be pretty nice. And it would get better with Mausoleum Wanderer if it were a 4/4 rather than a 1/1. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. River's Rebuke. You have many, many permanents, and I don't want to think about them. If they sacrifice Mausoleum Wanderer, we can still pay that tax, since we do have land creatures here ready to go. Do I pay the 1? I do pay the 1. Everything goes back into their hand. We're swinging in for over 10 damage. Looks like victory is assured, especially with a Scoot Swarm on the back. GG. I'm on the draw against a deck that's probably running lots of counterspells. I have nothing that costs less than 3, and I only have 2 mana. This is not a keepable hand. This is also really rough. Our cards come in tapped. We can't play that counterspell. Do we do the rare double mulligan? We did, and I think it was worth it. This is definitely keepable. I'm gonna throw back Turn Timber Symbiosis, keep these 3 lands, and we're up against Wrath, Weatherlight Stalwart, who can give things vigilance and draw them cards. This is an Azorius tempo deck. And we just drew exactly what I want to see. Destiny Spinner. Oh, look at all these tokens. All those tokens. Very good with Wrath. And now, even if I was worried about counterspells, now at least when it comes to my creatures and enchantments, not so much my instant sorceries and planeswalkers, we're good. That flips over. They're currently just mono white. I guess I'll block. See if they destroy the Destiny Spinner. They don't. The vampire is dead. 3 mana. What you got on 3? Mentor of the Meek. Going to be drawing cards off little creatures entering the battlefield. Works for me. Let's get down the Dryad of the Elysian Grove so we can play an extra land this turn. And I'll even attack in with the Destiny Spinner. Gotta even up those life totals a little bit. Heraldic Banner. They're white creatures. These are colorless. Would get bigger. Oh, they named blue. Oh, because they really want to be able to play Wrath. That's very fair. Very, very, very fair. Tireless Provisioner. Maybe I want to go for Inga and Essica here. I'm gonna go for Inga and Essica. Tireless Provisioner. I do not draw a card since only 2 creature mana was spent on it. But now I do have creatures that can tap for mana. I have a fairly empty hand, which is not that great for Jolrael's ability, but it's fine since we have a Nissa, we have a Jolrael ready, and we have Inga and Essica to hopefully just keep the pressure mounting. Here comes Wrath. They've got 2 mana up. Since Wrath's power is 2, they can pay 1, draw a card. Did they find an island, maybe? No. They didn't. Sure. I kind of want to draw here, though. So here comes Jolrael. 3 mana spent from creatures, keeping Inga and Essica back. Got a land. That landfall will trigger the Tireless Provisioner to get me a treasure. We're gonna get out Nissa. This is the Nissa, by the way, that can use her ultimate ability the turn after she comes out, which can be very, very strong. Since this has Vigilance, I'm actually going to shrink it down to swing in to draw a card, and it will become a 5/5 again at the end of turn. Oh, cool. Now we have a Wash Away. I do have 2 mana, not 3, that I can spend on this. Inga and Essica cannot be tapped for this ability. Raise the Alarm! Making tokens, they can tap their creatures now to draw cards off this. Nice. Drawing more. Where are your islands? That's a Memorial to Glory. Where are your islands, Wrath? Gonna just go ahead and -6 this Nissa. Turn my landfall into card draw. Also, more treasures. Love the treasures. Gotta have the treasures. Primal Adversary. Ooh, yeah. I'm going to pay green, green, green. Draws me a card. Emergent Sequence. Looking good. I'm going to kick this twice to make you and you into land creatures. I'm also going to tap this and this for Emergent Sequence to draw another land, get another landfall. Triggers happen. Gotta have them. Need to have them. Gotta love them. Another landfall. Since we can play an extra land per turn. I don't actually know if we played any lands per turn. Would I like to draw a card? Absolutely, Nissa Vital Force. We have a Wrenn and Realmbreaker too, which I'm going to tap, tap, tap. All that beautiful treasure mana. I'm going to animate my Blinkmoth Nexus. It gives it haste. Now I have 2 lands in hand, which means that this would make it smaller. But it would also make it more flying. And evasion is good, so I'm going to swing in with the Blinkmoth Nexus, Inga and Essica, and you two, too. They're blocking some of these creature lands, preventing some damage and preventing some card draw. Well, we got an Evolving Wilds. That's great for more landfall triggers. And by the way, we do currently have enough mana for Wash Away, since the island and the Blinkmoth Nexus can all be tapped. Six mana. Enough to activate Wrath, but is it enough to stop me from maybe ulting Ren and Realmbreaker, letting me play all these permanents from my graveyard? Nissa. Maybe. Just saying. Looks like they're starting... They found an island, finally. It took them a while. They had some difficulty there. Are there tokens enough? This is definitely a Wrath tokens list. You know, the first time I saw this card, my first thought was also, oh yeah, you play instants and sorceries that make you tokens. Sten, huh? I'm gonna counter Sten. Mostly because I don't want them discounting instants or sorceries. Got plenty of blockers here too. Ah, Rally for the Throne! Rally for the Throne is going to make them some humans. And since they played Animate mana for it, they gained 6 life. They still have 1 mana up. Would you like to draw a card? Draw a card they did. Pressure's on, though. Let's go ahead and animate this forest. We're going to get some landfall triggers since we do actually draw off our landfalls. Thank you, Nissa. Nissa giving us that Tatyova kind of ability. Ooh, Lotus Cobra. It's not a land, but it does do some good stuff for me. Floating mana. Floating mana. Evolving Wilds, draw me another card. Make some treasure. See what we can draw. Anything? Nothing? We got Tail's End. Put some +1/+1 counters onto this Crawling Barrens. Turn it into a creature. Go to combat. Let's make the Crawling Barrens fly. And I'm ready for a flunge. Hey everyone, get in here. You know when like your creatures are just itty bitty? That's how you know it's time to press that attack all button. And GG indeed! It's going to be a lethal swing because they didn't block anything. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Brawl Stars. As always, if you'd like to watch me record these live, you should come over to twitch.tv/Amazonian, where I stream Magic almost every single day. Also, Lord of the Rings is coming out soon, and it will be coming to Arena. The Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth is going to be an Alchemy release, but the cards are not going to be changed for Alchemy. Assuming that they stick to their word, I think it would be great, and I'm looking forward to maybe building some Fellowship commanders, but until then, we're going to have to make do with the cards that we've got. If there's a commander you'd like to see me build, be sure to let me know in the comments of the video. Also, thank you so much to the people who have supported my newly launched Ko-fi. If you don't know what that is, Ko-fi.com is a way to support me as a creator. It's Ko-fi.com/Amazonian. There is a link in the description. And if you drop $5, you're buying me a coffee with no fee. Hence, it's Ko-fi. Thank you so much to the people who have already contributed. KF Blade, thank you Kyle, thank you Old Boy, Stastiffer, Walter Ego, Richard, and Go Nuggets. I hope that you all continue to support my channel because it helps me do what I do. Thank you again so much for watching and have a brawlful day.